Hello, boys and girls. I hope you had a great Easter, and welcome to Project 22. What we're going to do in Project 22 is we're going to talk about designing your own house, being your own architect. An architect is an artist that designs houses. And I'm going to show you some videos right now that I took. I went downtown and I did some videos of some interesting houses. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you later. Girls, this is another house. I'm down in King Williams. These houses are pretty big. They're old, mostly over 100 years old. When you're thinking about how you want to design your house, maybe you want an old style house like this, or a two-story house. It's pretty nice. It's on big grounds. Here's another house in the King William district. It's another old house. It's different though. It's not a big two-story house. It's done in the French style. Do you see the trees in the front? It's got a backyard with a garage. Those are things you want to think about when you design your house. What kind of yard, what kind of backyard. House. Look at the nice framework around the front porch. This is also one story, though it's actually two stories in the back. You can see the hedge and the tree and the plants. You think about what you want on your house. Now here's an example of a more modern style house with geometric shapes, and you can see that it's a more modern style. It's not like those old style houses. You can see all the windows and stuff. It's a two-story, like a building. Pretty interesting. It's an old style house. Like I said, a lot of these houses are over 100 years old. You can see the upstairs porch. It's not in as good repair, but it's pretty interesting. These are just options for you to think about when you design your house. Here's another nice house. It's more modest, but it has a detached garage, but wonderful wrought iron fence and trees. Don't forget trees and plants for your house. In King Williams with the big bay windows, upstairs balcony. Think about how you want to design your house and what it looks like. I'm going to show you some more examples. Now here's a small house with all these big houses. So you don't have to have a big house. If you want to draw a small house, you don't have to have the largest house when you design your house. It can be small and simple, like this one. Another two-story house made out of limestone. It's kind of the Texas style, old style, built about 100 years ago. So here's a house from the 1950s or the 40s. It's a modern style, very geometric, square windows and blocks, totally different from what you just saw. And it's kind of a light pink. So you don't always have to make your houses look, they can be made out of just geometric shapes. Very nice. But look at in front of this house, there's this huge fountain. Never thought about that, what you can put in front of your house. A fountain, that's another thing you can put. You can also put playground equipment, swing sets, trampolines. Think of all the things you want in your house, outside of your house. This house is a white house. It's all painted white. It's a wood house with columns and stuff. It's here again, another two-story house. Think about the color you want your house and how many windows. Here's another house, a big two-story house in King Williams. Look at the little tower over there with the columns. So when you design your house, have fun with it. You can draw all kinds of stuff. It could be 2 stories, or maybe it's 3 stories or 4 stories. Up to you. And where is it going to be? On the beach, or in the mountains, or out in the desert? So we're in King Williams, and most of the houses are old style, but there's a couple of new ones. These are kind of in a modern style, and you can see, we'll walk along, and you can see the different style. They're different from what you just saw, and they're also new. You got big windows and big doors and garages. So you can think about how you want to design your house. As I move along, this one has a painting in the front. Here I go, kind of moving. I hope you don't get I'll try to take a picture of it. You can see there's a painting in the front, but these are more contemporary than what we've been looking at. These houses weren't built 100 years ago. They were built probably 10 years ago. Old house, it's another one of those houses that's 100 years old. What's fascinating about this is the wonderful porch work. The porch goes all the way around the house on the top and the bottom. So you can think about how you want your house to look. There's so many different ways to build your house and draw your house. Here we are, we're in the King William District, and here is another example of a modern house, not old traditional house that I've been showing you a lot of pictures of. It's all squares and geometric shapes. There's a wonderful big porch. That's something to think about. You have a porch, do you have a swimming pool? All the different things you can add to your house. Hey boys and girls, maybe when you build your house, you want to be in the country. Here's an example of a house out in the country. You can see the house and you can see the fence and the big tree, and there's a barn over there. So maybe you want to live on a farm or a ranch. It's up to you. Here's a house. Here's another house out in the country. I'm going to show you a bunch of different houses, boys and girls, so you can get an idea of what kind of house you want to build. This is an old kind of country house, but I'll be showing you a lot of different styles of houses. Hey boys and girls, this is the front of the McNay Art Museum, but the reality is this is a house. It was a house. This was the house of Miss McNay. She lived in this. It's done in a Spanish or Mediterranean style, and after she died they turned it into an art museum. So this is actually a house, but now it's a museum. I hope you enjoy all the different houses I've shown. Hey, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed all those videos of all those different houses. They're really beautiful, especially the ones in King William. Some were big, some were small. So what we're talking about is you designing your own house. Think about in the future, you're grown up and you want to have a house. What's it going to look like? I'm going to show you some photographs that I took or got off online to give you some examples, because you can do a variety of different styles of houses. For instance, this right here is a log cabin. It's made out of logs. It's a pretty rustic, which rustic means pretty, rough outdoors type house. Now here's another log cabin, but it's a lot fancier. It's something you'd find in the forest or in the mountains where a lot of trees grow. Or maybe you want to live in the desert. And the style of building that a lot of people did in the desert is the adobe style. And this is an adobe house. Originally, adobe houses were built, and let me show you this. This is the Taos Pueblo. It's over 1,000 years old. And it was built by the Native Americans 1,000 years ago, and it's still in existence today. You can go visit it. The adobe are mud and straw bricks that are put together to build a house, and then they cover it with a layer of mud. Now they use concrete, but that's what we call an adobe. Or maybe you want to be even more unusual, and you want to live, because you can use your imagination, you want to live in a tree house. A big, tall tree house. Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be pretty interesting. Of course, you'd have to have ladders and stairs to get to the top. There's one tree house right there, and here's one right here. Pretty amazing. Of course, you have to be careful. You're way up high. Or maybe you want to live by the ocean, like a beach house. Now, this is kind of a traditional beach house that you might find in the South Pacific, like Hawaii, because you can see the palm trees back there. Okay? Or maybe you want to have a more modern house by the sea. This one's made out of glass and concrete. And you can see the ocean. You can see the person right here with a surfboard walking along. And then we've got one more right here. It's a modern house. It's kind of geometric cube shape. And it's here again by the ocean. Where do you want your house to be? Now here's an example, or two examples of modern houses, or modern styles. And in the video when I went to King William's, there weren't any houses like this. The houses in King William's are more traditional. You see this one, it looks like a flying saucer. So use your imagination in this one right here. And don't forget to put things in front of your house. It wouldn't be nice if there was a swimming pool here, or maybe a trampoline, something you could play with. Now, if you really want to go way out there and say, Mr. N, I'm going to live in a castle. And this castle is in Germany. It was built about 150 years ago. And it influenced a great person in this country. In the 1950s, a person, his name was Walt Disney, came and saw this castle as a tourist. And he built Disney World and Disneyland. And now this is an artist's rendering of the castle that's at Disneyland, or Disney World. He was inspired by the castle that he saw in Germany. So think about where you want to live. Now here I'm going to show you some examples of some of the students' work. Well, actually, this is my example. Now, this is just a traditional house. You know, it's just a pointed roof, a chimney, a fence, swing set in the background, some bushes and plants, and there's a kitty cat. And of course, they've colored everything really nicely. Now, this one is a little bit more complicated. This house, a person lives by a river or a lake, and they've got a swimming pool, and they've got a boat dock, and then they've got this platform with a swing from a tree where maybe they can jump into the water. So use your imagination. Here's another example of a house that's a tall building. Maybe you want to live in a tall building, and this is several stories. So don't be afraid to, be inventive and creative. Here's another modern house. There's a swimming pool, and there's some water, and there's these strange windows right up here. They make round shapes, and then they have some pets down here. And then this one is really crazy. They've got their house, a bubble house right here. They've got a long bridge and another house, and they've got a house on top of the clouds. And then they've got this platform where the person's fishing in the water, and you see the fish go by. And there's this nice bridge, like a drawbridge, connecting to this house. So use your imagination. Now, your house doesn't have to be real big. Maybe you want to live in a tent. Maybe you want to live in a trailer. There's all kinds of places that you can live. So use your imagination, be creative, and I look forward to seeing what kind of house that you create. So be safe, and I hope you enjoy Project 22. See you soon. Bye.